Good evening. Oh my goodness, you guys. I am on time. I was getting ready to say early, but I'm not early. I am on time. Welcome in. Welcome in to dinner, tea after dinner with Lady DJ. Tea with after dinner with Lady DJ. Welcome in. Come in, come in. Come on up to the front. Bring your tea or whatever your beverage is at this time and join me I am about to don't forget to get your daily heart me's. I am going to share with this live out, and it's just going to take a minute, and I'll be right back. Yeah, that didn't take as long as I thought. Welcome in. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. And as you're coming in, don't forget to get your daily heart maze right there at the top. At the bottom of your screen is a little arrow that goes like that. Just kind of goes to the. If you tap on it and hit add to stories, then you don't have to sit there and click out everyone that you want to share it with. Share it with everyone. Welcome in. And like I say, don't forget to get your daily heartbeat. My goal is to always reach at least 10,000 likes. So can you help me out with tapping your screen so I can make that goal? I would certainly appreciate it. I don't know how to do those other things, the gallery and all of that. I don't know how to do it. Um, but I am so glad that you decided to join me. I am so very glad that you decided to join me tonight for tea after dinner with Lady DJ. We're going to continue on with the subject matter of conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. Hey, Bam. Thank you. Welcome in. Thank you in advance. Um, conflict resolution. D Black. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. And I'm shocking myself because I am here on time. Because this afternoon at lunch, have you all been looking at those little mini dramas that come on here? Well, I have become addicted to them. They are so good. They are so good. Oh my goodness. And late at night, if I can't go to sleep now, I just pull one up and watch it. So I was late this afternoon. But let's get started because after I finish this, Derek, the healing coach, the healing journey coach, is going to join me on the panel. And we're going to continue together in this subject matter of, hey, BPU, how are you? How are you? In this subject matter of conflict resolution. This, at lunchtime, I ask the question, do we really have an understanding of conflict resolution? Or have we just been doing what we saw, handling disagreement the way it was handled in front of us, going all the way back to our childhood? Most of us never sat down and learned a process for this. We just absorbed one. And if what you absorbed was, because this is what you saw, yelling or silence or somebody always having to lose or someone else having to win, right? Yeah, that's what we saw. And And that's the toolkit that most of us have been operating from ever since, whether it worked or not. That's what most of us have been using. That which we saw. That which we saw. For me, in this, was silence. Because if the voice got loud and, hey dear, how are you? If the voice got loud and everything, I shut down and I got quiet. I got scared. I would cower. These are the things. Galatia, I see you. I see you, B. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. These are the things that where we're operating right now, and whether you realize it or not. And at lunchtime, I shared that conflict resolution is not about winning. It is not about winning. It is a process of addressing and resolving disagreements while maintaining the emotional connection between the two persons. Hey, Tony, how are you? It's about maintaining the emotional connection between two people. That means the goal was never to defeat the other person. That was never the goal. Hey, Marvin, welcome in. That was never the goal. The goal is to get through the disagreement with the relationship still intact. And I'd like to submit that when we learn this process, it makes the relationship stronger. That's what I would like to submit, that it makes it stronger. Earlier, we talked about principles, 4 principles in conflict resolution, and that was de-escalation, lowering the temperature instead of raising it. We talked about active listening, actually hearing the other person, not just waiting to respond. I statements, owning your own experience instead of accusing. I statements, avoiding toxic styles, recognizing the patterns that damage rather than repair. And then we talked about styles. Briefly, we talked about competing. I win, you lose. Accommodating. I lose so you can win. Compromising. We both give up something. We both give up something. Oh, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. And collaborative problem solving. We both get what we actually need. Now that's just a brief overview of lunchtime. And that video is already up on YouTube. And my YouTube channel is Tea with Lady DJ. So tonight, one more thing. We got an understanding earlier that conflict resolution is not just about married couples or couples, significant others, unmarried persons. The focus is building secure attachment, merging 2 separate lives, and learning to navigate boundaries together. Families, parents, siblings, adult children. These dynamics carry something heavier. Deeply rooted childhood patterns, multi-generational habits, and a shared history that means stronger boundary settings matter more than ever. Then we talked about friends where this can work. Friends, the focus is on managing expectations, balancing the changes life brings, and keeping mutual respect alive. Mutual respect alive without the structure of a shared home. Welcome in, Muhammad. Welcome in, Bam. If I missed anybody, you all know I don't read the chat, but welcome in. Welcome in. Co-workers, the emphasis shifts to professional boundaries, clear delegation of tasks, and maintaining cooperation despite differing personal values. Despite all of that, okay. And I ended this afternoon with this scripture of Ephesians 4:29 from the Amplified translation. And it reads, "Do not let unwholesome, foul, profane, worthless, vulgar words ever come out of your mouth, but only such speech as is good for building up others according to the need and the occasion, so that it will be a blessing to those who hear you speak." And I said at lunchtime, that word occasion matters. Paul wasn't just talking about not cussing or avoiding cussing. He was talking about reading the moment, knowing what the occasion calls for, and choosing words that build rather than tear down. Even in the middle of disagreement, especially in the middle of disagreement, because that's exactly when our words are most tempted to turn destructive. You know what I mean? When we get, then we say things that we can't take back. Then that bell has rung and we cannot, I don't care how we apologize, you cannot unring that bell when we allow our tongue to go rampant. So I asked you to sit with this until you got back tonight. Was think about the last disagreement you had. The last disagreement that you had. Were your words building the relationship up, or was it quietly tearing it down? It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to put anything in the chat, but I did ask you to be honest with yourself. Don't play victim. Have you? And did they? And tonight, we're going to go even further in unpacking the principles we introduced earlier. De-escalation, active listening, I statements, avoiding toxic styles, and the 4 conflict styles: competing, accommodating, compromising, and collaborative problem solving. That's what we're going to do. So are you ready? I gave you a brief overview. Take a little bit of your tea and inhale and then exhale. You got it? You ready? Let's start with de-escalation. This is the very first move. Because if you don't de-escalate, none of the other principles even have room to work. De-escalation means lowering the emotional temperature before trying to solve anything. It's recognizing that 2 people in a flooded, activated state cannot solve a problem. They can't. They can only react. And all of this, I will be uploading again to my YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all of it. Well, so you can go back and play this, and how does it apply to you? Okay. As I gave you Ephesians 4:29, Proverbs 15:1 says, "A soft and gentle and thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." A soft, gentle, and thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Every time. Not sometimes, but every time. This is not a weakness. This is wisdom. The soft answer isn't the loser's answer. It's the one that actually has power, because it refuses to add fuel to a fire that is already burning. A harsh response might feel satisfying for about 4 seconds. Then it makes everything worse. This right here, matching that energy, I had a person that talked to me like I was a person from the street that they didn't even know. And they said some despicable things. And because when I get angry or excited or whatever, my speech impediment gets worse. I stutter. And she was just ranting at me and saying everything. And I was quiet. I had gone into that silence thing. And her voice was getting louder and louder. And then I finally said, "Now tell me why I should do this." And she just looked at me and she said the despicable statement again. And I said, very soft, "But tell me why you think I should do this." And it angered her so bad that she couldn't pull me out into the street with her, that she just screamed. She just screamed. But if I had matched where she was, I would have been putting fuel on these flames, and the only thing it had to do was rage into either an altercation or more words that should not have been said. So de-escalation sounds like, let's pause and come back to this in 20 minutes, whatever your time is. It sounds like lowering your voice when the other person raises theirs. There's a difference in being passionate about what you're saying but when your voice gets high and you wanting to talk over that person, and they're wanting to win and you lose, okay? It sounds like choosing not to match, as I said, the energy you're being handed. That's what de-escalation looks like. Now, next, active listening. Active listening is not waiting for your turn to talk while your face looks attentive. So you can sit there and you can look at them and all you're hearing is wah, 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 wah. But you're looking attentive, right? That's performance. That's performance. That's not listening. That's performance. Active listening means you are working to actually understand what the other person means, not just preparing for rebuttal. It looks like reflecting back what you heard before you respond. It looks like asking a clarifying question instead of assuming you already know what that meant. I say things like this because I'm 71. I've gone through some things, okay? And I remember my ex would say to me, I know what you're thinking with your little bitty mind. That used to hurt me down beyond the white meat. And because I was going to tear up and he wouldn't be able to understand what I was trying to say because my stammering and stuttering would have gotten worse. My thought was, if you really knew what I was thinking with my little bitty mind, you need to call the popo. And I can laugh now. But then it hurt because no one knows what you're thinking. And to say that, you're clairvoyant? What? What the hell? You can tell what I'm thinking? Pray not. Pray not, booger. Okay? Boo-boo, I hope you can figure out what I'm... Oh, goodness gracious. But anyway, it looks like being able to say, what I hear you saying, and having it actually be accurate, not a straw man version that's easier for you to argue against. Yeah. Now, let's look at I statements. I statements. Now, this is where so many of us trip because accusations come so naturally. You know what those statements look like? You always, you never, those words put the other person immediately on the defense. It puts the other person immediately on the defense. And once somebody becomes defensive, they stop listening. Elvis has left the building. Elvis has left the building. They are just waiting to defend themselves. An I statement sounds different. It says, I feel dismissed when the conversation gets cut short, instead of, you always cut me off. You see the difference? Can you feel the difference? I feel dismissed when the conversation gets cut short, instead of, you always cut me off. It's the same concern. It's just stated differently. I statements own your experience. I statements own your experience without putting the other person on trial. That single shift changes the entire trajectory of a conversation. It changes it completely. If I say, am I to understand, yada, 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 right? Then the ball is back in your court. Thank you so much. You are most kind. Thank you. Then the ball is back in your court. And you can say, you can clarify what you just said. No, that's not what I said. What I said was, thank you so much. Thank you. What I said was, or that's not how I intended it. It gives you a chance, gives the other person the chance for, yes, for correction. Absolutely. That's what I statements do. And the sooner we learn how to do I statements, it makes for a better conversation. That scares me when that thing, I don't even know how that happens, okay? But that just, did you all see? My heart just jumped right out of my throat. Okay. But it makes a difference in how we communicate with each other with I statements. Avoiding toxic styles. Avoiding toxic styles. Yes, dear, because it's, some patterns don't, do not resolve conflict. They just guarantee a repeat performance. Some styles do not resolve conflict, but guarantee a repeat performance. Stonewalling, contempt, sarcasm dressed up as humor, keeping score. And I think you said you got receipts and all of this other, bringing up the past as ammunition instead of context. These do not create resolution. They create residue. As residue builds up and residue builds up. And that's how two people end up in a fight about dishes that's actually about something that happened 3 years ago that was never resolved the first time. The first time. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the 4 conflict styles. The 4 conflict styles. Competing. I win, you lose. This style treats conflict as like a contest. Like a contest. Somebody has to come out on top. And it's going to be me. It might get a short-term result, but it erodes trust every time it's used because the other person learns that being in conflict with you means to prepare to lose. My father, he always had to win. He always had to win. Even when he knew he was wrong, he had to win. And so we knew his style, and we knew silence was our answer. We never got to share the other side. If he said it was, it was. You were always going to lose with him. Accommodating. I lose so you can win. Have you ever done that? I lose so you can win. I'm tired. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You're right. I lose so you can win. Mm-hmm. This looks generous on the surface, but it is not always. Sometimes it is self-erased, dressed up as peacekeeping. Sometimes it is self-erasure, dressed up as peacekeeping. If you are accommodating because it's truly not important to you, then that's healthy. If you are accommodating because you are afraid of what happens if you don't, that's something else. And it usually doesn't stay sustainable. And so with all of this that I'm sharing with you, please go back and sit with it by yourself. And how does it, and be honest with you. What did you live through? How did this affect how you go through conflict, disagreements? You have to go back. Compromising. We both give up something to meet in the middle. We both give up something to meet in the middle. This one feels fair. This one feels fair, and often it is. But compromise means no one fully gets what they need. Both people get most of what they want at the cost of some of it. You don't get it all. It is a reasonable tool, compromising, but it should not be the only tool in the box. It shouldn't be. Collaborative problem solving. This is the goal. Both people stay at the table until they find a solution. This is the goal. That actually addresses both sets of needs, not a watered down version of each, but something that works because both people helped build it. Both people helped build it. This takes the most patience. This takes the most patience and the most maturity. And the most maturity. It is also the one most likely to leave the relationship stronger instead of just resolved for now. It leaves the relationship stronger. And that's what we want. We want to grow stronger together. Yes? So, Ephesians 4:29 told us this morning, don't let unwholesome words come out of your mouth, but only what builds others up according to the need of the occasion. So it is a blessing to those who hear you. That's what that scripture told us at lunchtime. But I want you to hold on to that. Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath. Together, these two verses are giving us the whole posture. Watch what you say and watch how you say it. And I know you all have heard me a jillion times say, it's your tone, it's your tenor, and the depth of what it is that you're saying. Be mindful of your words. You all can say it for me that you've heard me say it so often. So watch what you say and watch how you say it. Conflict resolution, biblically speaking, was never about avoiding disagreement. It wasn't. It was about disagreeing in a way that still blesses the person on the other side of it. Isn't that amazing how he's already showed us how? He's It's when we study, right? That's the reason why he says when we study to show ourselves approved. He's already given us a roadmap of how we should do this. So let's look at what OAR. We are at the end. We are at the end, and I hope Derek is here with us. I think I got there. I said 10 o'clock. I hope he's here. And dear, can you send him an invite for me, please? So, ownership. Can you own your part of the conflict pattern? Can you? Not their part. See, that's what we're so busy doing. We want to fix someone else and we don't want to look at us. Can you own your part of the conflict pattern? Are you a competitor, an accommodator, a compromiser? Own which one you default to before you try to change it. Ownership, accountability. Are you willing to let the outcome of the conversation, not just your intention, be the measure of whether you handled it well? Accountability means checking whether the other person actually felt heard. Checking whether the other person actually felt heard. Not just whether you felt like you communicated it clearly. Checking with the other person. Responsibility. What is the next tangible step? Responsibility means actually practicing active listening and I statements the next time conflict shows up. Not just nodding along tonight and going right back to your old pattern tomorrow. Practicing active listening. An apology repairs the conflict damages, but conflict resolution handled with grace means there's less to repair in the first place. I'm just saying. So, think when you have time, think of one relationship, a partner, a parent, a sibling, a friend, a coworker, where your default conflict style might be working against you instead of for you. Remember, you don't have to fix it tonight, but you do have to be honest with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Derek,
Hey, hey, I'm back.
yes, you are. So tell me what you think before I start asking you questions. Did you
Tell,
get to,
tell me what I think about everything you said since 9:30. Just start with the questions. I got you.
you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Question number one. No, no, no. Derek,
Yes.
tell everyone, I know what you do.
Hmm.
Tell everyone how they can find you, what your assignment is about you first.
Oh, that I can do. So I'm affectionately known as Coach Derek. I am a healing journey coach, and I'm also a certified relationship coach. And what I do is, what I found out was a lot of people that get great relationship advice still revert back to the same patterns, and so that set me on a path to look at more healing tools, tactics, the origin and the root of things, so that we can get that handled before you go back outside. Because going back outside still seems to look the same for a lot of us, or we choose to avoid it at all costs and just never participate, even though that's truly what we want. It's a way of it's almost like a trauma response. So I help people bridge between the healing and the relationship. So I help you on both sides because they go together. So that's what I do. I give you a holistic view, tools from start to finish. And we talk to that little boy and that little girl because no matter how old you are, they still running your life if you don't check them. So that's what I do. And
Exactly.
that's I've been led in this direction because that dating advice wasn't working for y'all.
And you know, and I say I am dating well, but I'm not here to teach you how to date. But I am here to share with you those things that can make you a better you, because that's inevitably what we want to do is work on us.
Yep.
And when we fail to work on us, that's the reason why dating looks so hard,
Yep.
because we haven't invested time in us. That's what
Exactly.
my thought.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Derek,
Mm-hmm.
I've got it written down here, so hold on, so I can get it all in. I said, oh, I got something for him tonight. In your work with people on their healing journeys, what's the difference between someone who avoids conflict because they are at peace versus someone who avoids it because they are afraid? How can a person tell which one they are actually doing?
So the broader answer to that is someone who, what's the terminology you use? Someone who avoids it because what?
The difference between avoids conflict because they are at peace
At peace.
versus peace
Uh huh.
versus someone who avoids it because they are afraid.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So a lot of times the difference is that once you when we talk about the healing journey, becoming more aware of yourself, how you show up, your triggers, how to kind of regulate and ground yourself around the triggers, then when you make a conscious decision to detach from something because you understand how it's impacting you, that's a healthier approach. Some people disconnect because the trigger is still triggering that wound and it's really fresh and you don't know what to do with it. And so your go to response is to run from it, detach from it, avoid it so that you don't have to feel it. But there's no resolve and there's no resilience built around that. It becomes something that you just always do, no matter how it impacts. Let's say you're in a relationship, no matter how it impacts your partner or whoever you're dealing with, you're a runner and that running has no resolve to it. You're always going to do it until you learn how to do better. But a person who detaches because they're choosing peace, they're doing it from a more peaceful stance. Like, I understand what this is doing to me, and I have learned how to manage myself around the trigger. And I'm detaching not because I don't want to resolve it, but because this isn't healthy for me. If that makes sense.
hmm And so, how do you tell that? So, how does that person know which one they are? They actually are. What's
So
your
this is hard for a lot of people, right? Because when you are responding, when you have a trauma response of detaching and avoiding all the time, this is part of your root programming. You've probably always done this. So to tell that person, hey, you're doing this, they will fight you up and down that they're not doing it because of that, right? Because it's all they know. So it's hard to tell a person or convince them otherwise until they're really ready to, pun intended, sit down and heal. Sit down and look at yourself. Sit down and make an assessment of, am I really showing up like this? Because I always talk about like how I show up in conflict and someone says, you're showing up like this in conflict, and I will say, no, I don't. That wasn't, no, what are you talking about? I didn't raise my voice. But I have to stand back and say, Derek, did you? might have elevated your voice a little bit when you got triggered, and then I'm sitting back and I'm like, I'm watching it affect the other person and I'm ignoring it because it's about me. It's about me getting off what I need to get off. It's about me getting to my place of what I call safety for myself, and I'm ignoring that it's impacting that. They're telling the truth. When I
Mhm.
get triggered, you get a little Mickey Mouse. You know, it's like, hey, oh, and they're like, you just your voice elevated, and I'm like, no, I'm talking in a regular voice. Like you're oblivious to it. And so when you say, hey, you're doing this, sometimes it's hard for that person to digest unless they're really willing to listen to criticism or some kind of, because criticism is one of my triggers. It's a big one for me. And once you do that, if I feel like it's not true, we're gonna be arguing. We're gonna be going debating back and forth about the truth about it for an hour if I need to, until I feel like you get me. And I'm dismissing how it's affecting you the whole time because it's about me feeling soothed, and that's how a lot of conflict kind of matriculates. It's me trying to soothe myself at the expense of you, and then maybe I get to a point where I feel soothed, but I've probably destroyed you in the process.
Mhm.
So
And
yeah, it's different. So to answer your question, it's not an easy answer because a lot of people aren't even willing to hear that they're part of the problem.
exactly, exactly. And Derek, that's the reason why I say on this platform, on my platform, I'm not I'm not trying to do this is a problem that's across the board. This is not gender specific, okay?
Hmm.
We all have we all need to learn how to resolve in a different manner than
Hmm.
what we were raised up with as children. Because how did that work for you? Or the last person that you were in a relationship, how did that work for you? So but last week you said you noticed my face.
Hmm.
When we had shut down, Galathea had sent me a message, can we talk? And her thing was the same thing. Miss Donna, I noticed your face.
Hmm.
I don't know what my face was saying, but I do know that I have practiced active listening. I have practiced that, okay?
Hmm.
Because where I was, the statements that were made to me then, which would have been 52 years ago yesterday, had me always on the defense, okay?
Hmm.
Because it was the way it was spoken to me, which made me feel like I needed to defend myself. But you all saw me triggered. You saw me
Yeah.
leave the building. You saw me put up my Baptist finger and, and I stepped out, okay? I stepped out for a few minutes. But I never stopped hearing. I
Yeah.
never stopped hearing. That was the difference. I could tell you everything, but I didn't stop listening, though I was standing out in the vestibule. Okay, that's where I
Yeah.
was.
But that's how it works, right? Like when we say heal or healing journey, it doesn't mean you won't feel it every day. It's what you do with it when you do, right?
Hmm.
Because you could have reacted that way, had the face, and stayed there until the next day. You know what I mean? You could have stayed there, but you was able to reel yourself back in, right? And that's really what this is about. It's not about deleting trauma or being a perfect person. It's about what you do when it happens. How do you react? Do you realize how it's impacting another person? That's really the win. It's not about perfectly dismissing stuff and knowing how to respond. Those triggers gonna happen. They're gonna happen. I trigger myself on live every day, and I be in there, and what I do on my live is I'll pause and I'll be like, okay, let's breathe. This for me, not y'all. And I just breathe in the microphone because I'm talking about me. Like all of
Hmm.
this, like what you're talking about, right? Like when you talked about the I statements, that is pop. It's such a untalked about thing, right? Like the difference between saying I felt this way versus
Hmm.
saying you made me feel this way,
Hmm.
it's catastrophic for a lot of relationships over time because once you say you did this to me, you do not realize that you are triggering something in them when you do the accusatory thing because it starts to look like a parent. And that
Yes,
is where the trauma came from and the wound came from initially. So now we not in 2026. We in that point where you was when you was little and now you become that person. Now I'm not listening to resolve. I'm trying to figure out why you talking to me like you my mama. And that's
exactly.
all I see.
Exactly. You know, sometimes B and I can be talking, B and I can be talking to each other, and he'll go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What's your tone?" And and
Hmm.
and I didn't even realize
Yeah.
it had stepped over, and and I will say that was not my intent. I
Yeah.
apologize. When you bring it to, are you person enough to say that wasn't what I intended and I apologize?
Yeah,
You
that
know,
that in itself is also powerful. It's something else I had to learn is intent versus impact, right? When we have an intention, let's say our intention is good, but it lands horribly on a person, we will fight to the death to convince you that my intent was good and we ignore the fact that they felt harm from what we did. And that causes conflict in itself because we are not able to empathize with the impact. We want to get our point across and say, yeah, it hurt you, but I didn't mean to do it. And this is why I didn't mean to do it. And blah, 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 blah. And this is, I'm not a bad person. The whole time they over there crying. And you like, you're not honoring the way that they're feeling just so
exactly.
that you can be right. And
Exactly.
I am the fact checker. Do you see this and this happened? And I know that I didn't mean it that way. And blah blah. And the whole time they're like, "But you hurt me."
But you hurt me.
Yeah.
Just like I said, when my ex would say, "I know what you're thinking with your little bitty brain,"
Mm.
that hurt. That
Mm-hmm.
hurt. But because I would cry and stutter, oh boy,
Mm-hmm.
that I sucked it up. I internalized it. And I wanted to say, Jigaboo, if you knew what I was thinking, you need to be hurrying up calling 911 because I'm getting ready to show up.
But
You know,
yeah, yeah,
I'm at that place. You pushed me to a place that I don't even recognize me. And feeling heard? No. Feeling respected? None of that. So, Derek, I say, for me, before I speak, not only because I'm trying not to get excited and stutter, but if what I am about to say to you would hurt my feelings,
mm-hmm.
then I shouldn't say it. And that's taking some time with, in that moment that you say breathe,
Mm-hmm.
I need to breathe.
Yeah,
I need to think about, I'm getting ready to say some words. If those same words were said to me, would it hurt me? And if the answer is yes, then I shouldn't say them.
yeah. And that that's next level thinking, right? Because with and I had and when I talk about this stuff, it comes from my story. But what I had to learn was because somebody would say, "Why would you hurt me?" Right? But when you actually sit back and look at like the psychology behind it, what I am doing that's triggering you is me internally fighting for my own safety, maybe in a horrible way, but I need to feel safe before I care about your feelings. I need for that little boy to feel like he's right. I need for him to feel like he's okay, and then we can worry about you later. But right now, I need to get this off because the little boy is going crazy because you raised your voice. So now I got to defend. I got to do whatever. I got to detach and go somewhere to get away from you. This is how I'm responding to soothe myself, not realizing that it may be triggering you too. I don't care about that. I need to feel better now, right? Those of us who have anxious attachment, we ain't letting you go in the other room. We gonna follow you and be like, look, we need to handle this right now so that I can feel soothed. I don't care if you need time. I need to feel okay right now. It's very selfish, but it also comes from a place because whatever that thing is that you did to trigger me reminds me of something or someone, and I need to make that go away despite how it impacts you. And it is wholly like destructive to a relationship because how many iterations of this is going to happen before I no longer realize who I am in this? I
Mm-hmm.
then become the person that anticipates that you're going to trigger me, so I'm going to do it before it even happens. I'm gonna treat you bad anyway because I know that at some point you're going to do that thing to trigger me. So it's like I'm preempting the strike by pushing you down ahead of time. So like what you were talking about, the belittling, people who do that, if you really sat down with them, like if they was in therapy, somebody belittled them. And that was how they were trained to mute someone else down so that they can feel better. It's a cycle of terror that they fight. Like you'd be like, he's just so mean and he called me this. You're gonna find that he probably had a parent or two that was like, you're no good or whatever. They got it follows. It follow. It's unfortunate, but and they don't and they will never concede that that's where it came from, especially men.
You know, I'm just I'm thankful for the journey. Derek, I got three more questions for you, but I'm thankful for the time that I sat down after being married for 23 years and being able to acknowledge I knew nothing about nothing. I was 19 when I got married, so
Hmm.
I don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
But to sit down and be poured into before we think that we're ready to go out there and be in a relationship with anyone, it requires some sitting down, being still,
Hmm.
um, and defragging yourself. And
Yeah.
defragging. Okay, second question. Tonight, we talked about four conflict styles, right?
Hmm.
Competing, accommodating, compromising, and collaborating.
Hmm.
From what you have seen, is it possible for someone to use a different style with different people in their life, strong with coworkers but accommodating with family? What does that tell us?
So repeat the question one more time.
So we talked about the four
Hmm.
styles, the four conflict styles.
Hmm.
Is it possible for someone to use a different style with different people in their life, like a strong with a coworker, but accommodating with family? When I thought of this, because today in your life, you were talking about compartmentalizing,
Hmm.
and so I'm like, so are we able to compartmentalize? Okay, I need to use this professional boundaries now.
Hmm.
It's my adult children, it's my parent, it's my significant other. So do we have them all in boxes? And I need to use this style for this person. Is that what we're doing?
So
Compartmentalizing?
yeah, so I paused for a reason because there's a couple of layers to this, right? Like, so yes, what you're talking about absolutely happens, right? But in a lot of those cases, when you compartmentalize it like that, most of those cases you're going to abandon yourself to serve whatever they need, right?
Okay.
So like, if I'm with my whatever and I choose to avoid, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing that maybe for them, maybe for me, but there's really not a lot of resolve. But they may feel like they got what they wanted. So then you feel like you won. But did you?
But
Right?
did right.
So if you say like so if we take compromise out, right? And we
Okay.
look at the other ones, most of the time you're going to sacrifice yourself or maybe your voice so that they can feel better. We do it all the time with parents, sometimes kids, sometimes coworkers, and we'll say, well, maybe they need this type of way to resolve. But when you talk about, the competition and the I win, all of these other things, accommodation, we also have to take into context, was there any reciprocity in the resolution, or did I just do it so that they can kind of shut up?
Mhm. Mhm.
So it gets kind of weird. Like, we probably do it, but in some cases we probably shouldn't, because we're a lot of times we just walk away without anything, just to make sure, because their happiness
Mhm.
means that it's
Mhm.
quiet. It's quiet again, and we think quiet means peace,
Peace.
but we also sacrificed maybe what we wanted or what we needed in order to make it quiet, which means we really suffer. Because once we realize that sacrificing myself equals quiet, I'm gonna just keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Hold on just a second. Let me do this puzzle. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I
Because
think.
I because and the reason why I know the reason why I know this is because I've done it most of my life. My trauma response is fawn, which is mean I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get, just I'm gonna figure out how to make it go away. Right? I learned that from my dad. Right? So in that conflict, I'm gonna let you get your way so I can get quiet. Right? I may not do the same thing with every other part of my life. Right? I may handle it differently. But in mostly all the cases, I'm sacrificing me for the quiet, no matter what I choose. And that's the trauma, right? I'm going to make sure that you get what you want so I can walk away and not have to worry about you over here. So I'm going to do all the things, and most of the time it's not going to be compromised. That's why I said take that away, because that's really where we should be, because I bend, you bend, right? Like you did a little bit, I get a little bit, whether we agree to disagree, but we both kind of got our voice heard. But most of the time, especially in men, we're gonna be like, "You got it," because we ain't trying to hear none of that. Unless we wanted a more toxic type where we trying to, what you would talk about, where we belittling you and do. But a lot of us, we just like, you know what? Yep, you're right. Let me just go ahead. I'm about to go in the man cave. Go ahead and do whatever that thing is. Sure, like, a lot of times when we do that,
Mhm.
it doesn't become about conflict resolution. My one mission in life is to shut you up. What do I got to do? Oh, take the trash out in 2 minutes instead of 10? Okay, cool. Are you good? Okay, cool. I'm about to go over here. That's how we resolve conflict.
Yep. Okay. All right. Now, let me say this right quick before we get to the next two. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. What do they call this? Resetting the room? Let's reset the room.
Hmm.
Welcome in. We are talking about conflict resolution all day today. And Derek is my guest, the second Tuesday that he's joined
Hmm.
me, and this has been wonderful. If you missed lunch with Lady DJ today, it is already up on YouTube. It's the foundation to what we're doing right now. This that we're doing right now will be up probably tomorrow, depending on how late. Once I've finished, if Derek doesn't mind sticking around, asking him questions, um, I will open the boxes. Please stay on focus, stay focused with the subject matter, which is conflict resolution. On this platform, we do not debate how it feels for man and or woman, because the issues that we're talking about is it's not gender specific.
Hmm.
It's for everyone. Everyone needs to hear this. This is not how men do it and men do it this way. This is a general problem that we need to work on. We're not here to divide. We're here to make us better than we were yesterday. When you come up, when I open up the boxes, you have 2 minutes to make your statement, 2 minutes to make your statement and or question, and then you will drop back down to the chat. That's how we're going to do it tonight because this is really good. I'm enjoying it. It was something that, like I said, we did apology last week. We're doing this, but they are both intertwined. And if we had this on the front end, it would make apology so much easier if we knew how to do this on the front end. Okay, so the next question, Derek. A lot of people grew up watching conflict handled in unhealthy ways, yelling, silence, somebody always losing. In your experience, how does someone actually unlearn that old pattern when it's the only model they have ever had?
So this is a good question because a lot of us, when we get older, we use this as an excuse for sometimes bad behavior. It's all I've ever seen. I've never seen a happy blah blah blah. I think in well, not I think I know the first place you have to start. A lot of people don't even identify that how they are behaving is directly related to what they saw growing up. So that's the first step. You got to admit that it's a problem, right? This is any kind of thing that we need to unlearn. You got to admit that there's a problem, right? This is how I stair step people logically, right? You got
Mhm.
to admit that there's a problem. Then we got to see where the problem started. So you could say, I learned this from my parents. And then you have to start to look at yourself and see how you show up during conflict. You have to identify, I yell. Like you have to affirm that yes, I'm a yeller. My mama yelled at me. I'm a yeller. Okay, cool. Now you've identified as a yeller. Do you think that the yelling is a cost benefit, or does it take away from you growing in a relationship? Yes or no? No, it does not help. I've probably hurt some people with my yelling. Then we have to say, okay, is that yelling part of your identity? Do you need this to be part of your identity, or do you want to change it? Because you got to want to change it before you change, right?
Right.
So then once you say, yes, I want to stop yelling, well, what triggers your yelling? You're going to have to really do some deep thinking because all you know is to respond. What typically triggers your yelling? Once you actually sit down and actually look at, okay, whenever somebody criticizes me, I get worked up and I yell. Okay, cool. So we figured that out. So now we have to look at when somebody criticizes you, we have to now look at what that really means to you, right? It probably still reminds you of a parent. It probably reminds you of one or two or both of them together. We have to learn how that when these times happen, because now we identify what the main trigger is. When this happened, what do we do? Do we pause first? Right? It's something you got to train over time because you got a lifetime worth of habit, right?
Mhm.
Do we make an assessment now when somebody criticizes? Do we stop back and say, wait, this feels like this? Or in my case, the other person is like, you're yelling. You got to really like I said, it's hard to identify that you're the yeller because you it's almost like you black out in a way. And
Mhm.
so when somebody says you're like this, you're gonna be like, no, I'm not. Once you're able to sit down and say, when this happens, this is how I respond, then we have some meat on the bone now. We can work with this information. You now understand how you show up. You see yourself in a different way than you ever have because a lot of us just wear it on our chest. I'm just an angry person. You're going to have to deal with it. I just tend to get worked up and yell. That's just who I am. Love me for who I am. I don't have to do that. I mean, you're not going to, right? So
You do
you got to
not.
really, yeah, you really have to sit and evaluate how you show up and you have to be honest about how you show up, because people, whether they were negative in your life or not, there's little bits and pieces of them telling you this is how you're affecting me. We just don't listen to it. Is
Hmm.
it true? And that information can come from the most evil person on the planet. But there may be a little bits of truth of how you show up that you don't even realize. So when you start working on figuring out what that trigger is and where it comes from, then you can recognize your behavior when it happens the next time. And then you can kind of work on how to regulate, cope, ground yourself during those points. Because you will, once you realize this, you can't unsee it. You're going to realize, oh my God, they just told me I yelled. Did I really yell? Yeah, I did. Okay. I apologize because, we talked about this last week. I did not know. But now that I do, I want to work on fixing it. And sometimes you may need to get help because it's so deep.
And that's the whole thing is that when you, I think you said it earlier, when we go to, that may have been the way he was treated. And I
Hmm.
remember that I started to go through to therapy, right?
Hmm.
For multiple issues that I didn't even know I could say, I could even speak on because Derek, I was raised Southern Baptist, okay?
Hmm.
And Southern Baptists, the women have their place, okay?
Hmm.
They have their place. And standing up to a man to say you did this,
Hmm.
it's unheard of, right? So I had to get beyond that. And then getting to know me and to know that it is okay to bring that person to task. That's an old way of saying to check that person,
Yep.
okay? I never knew that I could check someone,
Hmm.
but there is a way to check them
Right.
and not yell at them and not be belittling any of those things. And that I had a right to say no.
Hmm.
No, this is unacceptable. No, I'm not doing it this
Yeah.
way.
No,
Because-
no, no is the key to a lot of our resolve, but it's also the hardest thing to do for a lot of us is to say no, especially to your point of how you grew up and all of that. But it's even harder to say no when you've kind of attached yourself to a situation, whether it's healthy or not. Saying no may mean that person might leave you, and that's scary for people too.
Exactly. And so, been there, done that. Okay,
Hmm.
so the only man that I've ever known, ever been with, all of those things, and now he is walking out. So, do I just act like I don't see what is going
Hmm.
on because I'm going to be by myself? And
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do all of this. And fear is real. Okay, it is
Hmm.
seriously real.
Yeah.
It will make you stay longer than you need to stay. It'll make you accept stuff that you know hurts, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because you are fearful. You're scared. How am I going to do this?
And
How?
something I always talk about too that's even crazier is we will know we need to leave. We know it hurts.
Mhm.
We are on the cusp of separating from this person, but then there's this little thing in our head that says, if I leave, are they going to be okay? Like they're the one hurting you. They may be abusing you, and you know that it's time for you to leave and say no, and you be like, wait, but if I leave, are they going to be okay if I leave? Maybe I should stay a little bit longer because they need me. And then we stay longer.
Derek, it even goes beyond that for me. It back to our wedding vows for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, okay? So this that I'm in is really the worst, okay?
Hmm.
So I'm just going to pray twice as hard. Lord have mercy, I'm going to pray twice as hard and it's going to get better. And it didn't.
Yeah.
And and it didn't. It got worse.
Yeah.
But because this is what we were told, you know, you shouldn't remarry you, because then you too are committing adultery. All of those things, until you
Yeah.
learn, until you get an understanding of what is being said, the reason why that statement was there, that if you get a divorce you should remain, because you, that was because women were property back then, okay?
Hmm.
And they didn't have a bill of sale or anything. That's the reason for the divorce decree, so that you could go on to your next,
Hmm.
if there was a next, okay? But we are told so much that is not, it's taken out of context, which
Yeah.
causes us to stay longer than we should stay.
Yeah. And this whole topic about conflict resolution, it's weird just saying the words, right? Conflict
Yes.
resolution, when most of us never get to a resolution.
Right.
It's just conflict.
Yes, conflict. Hmm. But with this, we could bring about a resolve if we knew how.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's the reason why we are here tonight, is to talk about it. This is not a one time. When I look back, I have done this in 2022. We don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. We might need to repackage it and add a little bit here and add a little bit there, but it still remains the same. It's something that we have not learned how to do, and it is causing a divide in relationships.
Yeah. And I have to like when I say this, I need to give a disclaimer. I am not giving I'm not condoning the behavior, right? I'm just talking about the psychology of this whole conflict resolution and where it goes, right?
Hmm.
So we talked about in conflict, one or both people get triggered. One or both people have a response to those triggers. When you get triggered and it hurts because it's attached to something that may have hurt you before, you will probably choose not to advocate for that hurt to go away or to resolve it. You hold it, right? So now your inability to have a voice for yourself creates more conflict over time, right? Because the other person didn't learn their lesson because you never said anything, right?
Right.
So you keep holding it and you keep conflicting and you keep shrinking yourself, not having a voice. Eventually, you're going to start to build up resentment. When you build up enough resentment, it's a lot of pressure to hold, and you're going to have to try to figure out a way to cope with it because it's heavy. And a
Hmm.
lot of people, once they get to the point of coping, they start to find out that there's certain things out there that may make them feel better. It may be alcohol, it may be other people. And then when you get to that point, then the people will call you evil for trying to cope with the thing, but all you were trying to do was soothe yourself. And sometimes it looks crazy because if you go back 100 conflicts before that, you wasn't a bad person. You just didn't know how to advocate for the pain that you was feeling. And you would matriculate and evolve into a person that needs to sit out in the driveway for an extra 45 minutes. You evolve into that person, but when somebody sees the end result at the end, they like, you're evil. And it's always nuance to how you got. Yeah, there's some people that do dastardly things, but some of us don't start out that way, and a lot of times it's our fault because my dad was this guy. He did not want any conflict, so he shut up and just let her win all of it. And he suffered because he never spoke up for himself. He just wanted it to go away.
Hmm.
And so then he starts to find things to keep him out the house more. He's joining all of these organizations and doing all of this stuff because he did not want to come home.
Hmm.
And people will say, well, bad guy doesn't want to come home, but this is how he has learned to protect himself, even if it's in a dysfunctional way. And this happens more often than not, where people are just really trying to find a way to feel relief. And when they say this, and I'm gonna land with this, Just go talk to your partner. Why aren't you talking to them? That's the person that triggered me. I'm not. In my mind, this is the. How am I going to get something out of this person that keeps yelling at me? I'm not going to them.
Exactly. Derek, I can remember I used to hate to come home. We'd go out to one of his business dinners or whatever, and he was the person that I married. He was he was smoother than snot on a wax floor, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when we crossed the threshold back into the house, I didn't know who he was. I was like, do we need to go back to the party? Because I want that person. That's the person that I know. I don't know this person that came across the threshold with me.
Yeah.
You, but you stay because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know any better or fear or whatever. You stay.
Yeah.
Okay, Derek, a fourth question
Mm-hmm.
is what's one practice you would tell someone to start with this week if they wanted to get better about navigating conflict with grace without overwhelming themselves trying to fix everything at once? Just
So is this single or in a relationship or both?
you pick one. All of
So
them. Address all of those that you said. If I would say,
so if you're single and maybe wanting to be in something long term, you can make an like I said before, you can make an assessment of how you have shown up in conflict prior, right?
mhm,
Then once you meet this person and you start to get serious about them, you then do something that you've never done before. You talk about conflict before the conflict happens. You
mhm,
talk about how each other typically shows up because we know we got an anger issue. We know that we normally like to go in another room. You can talk about that during the honeymoon phase. Hey, you know what? If I get angry, if we have conflict, I'm gonna need to go in another room for 30 minutes. So the person gets a fighting chance at understanding how the mechanics of it work so we can learn how to not hurt each other. Doesn't mean we're not going to conflict, doesn't mean we're not going to disagree, but I know you need time. If we don't have that conversation, the first time we have conflict and you go in that other room, I'm going to be triggered. Where you going? What you need that time for?
mhm,
Right? And then we talked about this. Then the person that leaves is like, why the hell you following me? And now we not talking about the issue no more. We fighting about that, and that becomes
mhm,
the re-triggering cycle of terror that's going to go over years and years if you don't handle it. You could talk about the rules of engagement. Like I always talk about, like you can do stuff. Like if you know that you kind of get a little out of hand sometimes, you could take like a bottle of water and be like, whoever's holding a bottle of water, can the other person can't talk. Sometimes you need visual aids. Like, hey, bottle of water is our thing, or this pillow is our thing. I'm holding the pillow. Hold on. You talking. Remember, we talked about this early. We not gonna hurt each other, right? You may
mhm,
not like what I'm saying. You may think I'm wrong, but let me get it off. I'm holding the pillow. Look, I'm holding the pillow. And now it's your turn, right? And then we can go back and forth because it's really about not even the overarching thing is not to hurt each other, right? We going to conflict, but we not gonna hurt each other. So we might have to build in some things to help us. Like some people may need to have a designated room in the house. In this room, you can't no judgment. We just gonna talk about how we feel, and we gonna come out of here and we gonna figure it out. Some people need those things because that nervous system isn't ready to just be calm, or there's no healing. But you can do some things in the interim to help center you so that you don't get out of hand.
You know, Derek, there was one because, and it was good, where we turned in chairs, but we put our back to each
Mm-hmm.
other
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to read my face and I'm going to read your face, and you're going to look up in the sky or you're going to roll your eyes, which is going to hinder me from saying anything else.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to do so we can still be able to say what we need to say and be respectful to each other? What do we need to do? You
Yeah,
know?
and you know something that you'll appreciate because you mentioned it when you first came on about the facial expressions. That facial expression, a lot. And I hear this all the time, still to this day, that I micromanage the facial expressions. Like I know what that means. Why you looking like that? And that then sometimes could create the conflict because I'm like, wait, I know what that face mean, and then it's like, I don't feel that way. What are you talking about? And they're like, that's the face. Yeah, that's
Or when you fold your arms, when
yeah.
you fold your arms, I am closing you out. You will no longer have access to me. I have just shut you out. Our posture says so
Yep.
much.
Yep.
So, what do we need to do to still be able to have and be heard and be respected and understood? Derek, are you willing to take some questions from
Yeah.
persons?
Yeah. For a little while.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, so if there's anyone that would like to come up, dear, would you do what you do, and Bam, do what you do, and then bring them up. Stay on focus. Stay on the subject matter. You got 2 minutes, and then you will be put back down into the chat. Okay. So let's see, who do we have here? Raz. Is that right, Raz? Welcome in, Raz. Maybe not. Maybe not, Derek. I think we did an excellent job. And I thank you.
Anytime. This is good. This stuff needs to be talked about. Like it's this. So the healing journey, the inner child, all that stuff is important. A lot of times we don't even realize that we have childhood wounds until we conflict. That's where the little kids show up. They be at the playground fighting, and you be like, "Wait, I,
And
I didn't even know." Yeah.
I had so much. Derek, I got all of this information here. All of this. This goes all the way back to 2022. I mean, and it's like, how do I get this all so we can just do it tonight? And I'm not for sure that we don't have more to talk about in this with this subject, okay? Because it's real, but I have to see how Leroy leads me. And
But yeah, this is probably one of the most important topics for people, even though it is not the shadow work and all the other stuff. This is important because this conflict is where, again, where most of us realize that we even have a wound because
exactly.
we don't know the triggers a lot of times until we emotionally and vulnerably like link up with someone, and then they're kind of uniquely designed to push something that your parents, your kids, your coworkers would never push. But once you in love, it's like and you be like, wait a minute, do I show up like, where'd that come from? And now childhood wound, you would have never known it.
And I'm just, let's see. Dear, welcome up, welcome up, welcome up.
Coach said,
Is he there? There he is.
Hey, 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 this was awesome. Both of y'all brought it tonight. Oh my God, this was a much needed conversation. But here's my question. Can y'all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. I asked it earlier. If you either one of you can break, well, both of you can break it down. Uh, what does it say? Bringing up the past and using it as context and not a weapon. That's good. Can you break that down a little bit more for us?
Derek, do you want to go?
you look like you're looking at something to read, so I want you to read it if you got it. If not, I can go. I'm trained to go.
Okay,
Let's go.
because I was trying to get back to that, what Dear was talking about and where I was going when I said it. You go ahead.
Because
I'm looking for it, Derek, because
when you said it, it triggered me.
I'm going to get back to it. I know where. I know what I was. Guess I know where it was. Where it was. Where it was. Was it in the excavation talking about context? Okay. Welcome up, Tony. I'm still.
Man,
I haven't ignored
I
you. I'm
have
just
you.
trying to
No, you
find
good.
this.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
What's
hey.
What's
good?
up,
Okay.
brother?
Okay. Here it was. It
Uh,
was avoiding toxic styles. I said some patterns do not resolve conflict. They just guarantee a repeat performance. Stonewalling, contempt, sarcasm dressed up as humor, keeping score, bringing up the past as ammunition instead of context. These do not create resolution, they create residue, and residue builds up. That's how two people end up in a fight about dishes that actually it was about something that happened 3 years ago and that never got resolved the first time. So when I said that, you know how we always want to talk about being um, transparent and vulnerable, and we do that when we share, and then hey D, welcome, and we share that, and then it's almost like being mean. You have nothing to offer of substance, but you want to win. So you bring up something from the past that's hurtful. It's like it almost shuts that person down. Not context, but ammunition. Just to
So
win.
give it to me. Give it to me how you can use it in context.
If
I know this is
so
in a lot of ways what a lot of people. Um, so
okay,
Derek,
so
you
you
make
asked
you.
you asked me to give it to you in context. And
Right.
I'm gonna give you something that happened to me, right? So I shared with him, and we were together. So he knew my family dynamics, right? And he used it as ammunition instead of context. If he had said to me, "I'm not trying to be like your father. I'm not trying to make appeal to that side of me." Instead of, he said, "Who do I remind you of?" Do you see the difference?
I see the difference. However, a lot of people will use how he said it the first time as a thing of you're using my past
As
against me.
ammunition. Yeah, right,
Right.
right. But if he was wanting to use it for me in context, he could have started out with saying, "I'm not trying to be like your father." Appeal
Okay.
to that side of me. I'm not trying to be like your father, always trying to be right. But this is what I feel. This is something to take the edge off of it instead of, "Who do I remind you of?" And so when you do that to me, then it made me cower. It made me fearful. It made me scared. And then there was no resolve. It was just residue. So I remember when you did that one, and I remember when you said this, and none of those created a resolve.
Yeah, so I think that the distinction is, and it has a lot to do, and Donna talked about this earlier about delivery and tenor, right? And so the delivery as a point of trying to connect with you because you did share this with me. So it's kind of like, remember when you told me about blah, blah, blah. I want to make sure that I don't remind you of that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now the other way, a lot of times is solely just to win the argument. And they know that that is something that will that it's a vulnerable place for you. So if I need to win real fast, I know I can go there and get to you. And so there's no context in there. I just need to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to kind of sound like, and that's why your mama did blah blah blah, and you were like, whoa, wait, and now they're think that they're winning the argument instead of saying, I see this difference in your behavior, and I remember you told me that you had this issue with your mom. I just want to make sure you're okay. I want to make sure that I don't remind you of that because I want us to be okay. Now I'm giving you context.
Mm-hmm.
Without the context, I'm gonna be like, oh, so that's what we doing? Yeah, so you think I'm like your mom, huh? Remember you told that? Then that hurts. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
whole point of doing it. It's not about context. It's not about trying to compromise or do anything. I want you to hurt. Maybe I even feel hurt. You don't even know I'm feeling hurt, but now I got to get you back. And the best, and especially, and I know we don't do gender, but a lot of times women will use this against men because they know they can't fight you. They know that, they're going to use this as a way to poke the bear
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only thing y'all have. Because men, we fight. We know we can't fight you, so a lot of times we just be like, "You got it." Women sometimes some women they will use that as ammunition because they know that that's the chink in your armor is your emotions and your vulnerability that we claim men don't have. They gonna push that because they know that's gonna break you down before any. It's a dangerous tactic though, because some of these men
Good.
they don't. Once you do that, you could be in danger with some. And I'm not saying just men, right? But I'm saying sometimes you don't know how deep that wound goes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So hope that makes a little bit more sense.
I was going to say, did that answer yours, dear?
Yes, yes, and I think that that is oftentimes what is the hiccup or what is the because a person can use or can be very gentle and genuine and soft dealing with their person and knowing what that person has been through in their past,
Mm-hmm.
then that person kind of uses that and says, well, hey, you're using that, my past as a weapon. I'm like, no, uh, I'm using it. Well, I'm not using it, but I know what you've been through, so I'm treating you more gentle. And so let me say this real quick. Melvin, welcome up. You're new to the community, so we ask that you be very respectful in this. We don't know you, and you don't know us yet. So, but I hope you have a question pertaining to the subject at matter. But welcome to the box, brother. Go ahead.
And then Tony's next, and then you, Melvin, please, in that order. Tony?
I gave up on you because this is like
That wasn't. That didn't last long.
And we are taking Spirit Airline. What is it? This something holiday? Mm-hmm. Tony,
Yes, I'm here.
you had a question?
Nah, not right now.
You got a statement?
Nah, not right now. I really, really enjoyed this. I really, really kind of needed to listen to this because this life be life. So I'm just sit back and finish enjoying the knowledge that y'all two are putting out. It can help a lot of people. I'm
Thank
happy I could be uh, in the spirit because you're doing it because of what Leo said. And I'm glad I can be with you, Derek, and Coach to get a better understanding on some things that I've been through in my past. So,
Okay, if there's any other questions down in here, and Derek, I'm not saying that I won't ask you to be with me next Tuesday. I
Nah,
have to.
Donna, you got to be easy on me, Donna. You got to be
I,
easy
I
on me,
just,
Donna.
I don't know. I just don't know. But this went really well, and I so appreciate you. I do. But Leroy, he'll get back with me on Friday as to what we're gonna do on Tuesday. So I have to see what he's gonna say. But you know what, Derek? Do you not find TikTok has? Do you ever sit out on the porch sometimes and not go into lives?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it is a plethora of fodder to be when
Yeah.
you listen. I mean, it's like, do they really mean what they're saying? Or they just,
all right now. All right now.
And I'll say
It,
this. I'll say this. Uh, uh, Anybody who's out in the comments, if you don't have yourself a therapist or a coach, get someone like Derek. Get someone that is credible and kind of going along with what you were saying. You can go scroll through these TikTok streets, and it has doctor on all these boxes. And they just go. Everybody's over talking each other. Oh God!
yeah. It's a
I
lot.
just, and that's the reason why, I was like, I did group for almost 15 years before ever coming to TikTok. And then I told Leroy that I wasn't going to do it anymore. And he was like, it wasn't your decision in the first place. I'll tell you when you can up out of here, okay?
I don't agree with the gender bashing. It's so many. It's so many on
Yeah.
this app that get in there. There's one group. They get in their groups and they just bash this one gender. And they can start early in the morning to late at night.
But it's on both sides because
Yeah.
see, I know of two that they bash women, and I know them. But the funny part, Derek, and you guys, is that when I have conversation with them, it's about clicks.
Yeah.
It's about the
Yeah.
numbers. So they're not really trying to help anybody, but they're monetizing
Yeah.
themselves. And
Yeah.
so therefore you say things that can hurt people.
Yep. I've seen it
And
happen. Yeah. I've seen it happen a lot. Like,
I've seen it happen too.
I came on TikTok in 2021, right, for the first time. And when I tell you, a lot of these people that are doing these lives, like what you're talking about, they didn't come on here like that until they realized what the clicks got, right? They
mhm,
were like, oh, I'm just trying to help the community. I'm just trying to be around like minded people. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then when they got to see what was getting the numbers, they sacrificed all of that
mhm,
and went the other way.
mhm,
And the unfortunate thing about this, and people don't really understand the impact of what this is doing. And we have personal responsibility about what we take in. But when you do that to an audience of people that are hurting, they're looking for something to connect to. And the easiest thing to connect to is other people that's hurt like you, whether the information is good or bad, because we're looking for something to fill in the blank as to why I'm hurting,
mhm,
right? So you can go on the live and a man will say, well, you're hurting because women are like this. And you're like, I filled the blank in. I didn't have to figure out anything. And vice versa. And then it becomes this, what I call like the trauma bond Olympics. Like everybody just wants to be the first one to do this or to do that. And then what you'll see is somebody will have a toxic live with a topic, and then you'll see that topic in 20 other places because they saw it work the first time. They don't care about the responsibility. And I know this is a lofty, thing, but they don't care about damaging you. They'll have you come up on the thing and just use your trauma and your whatever your story is because they know it's gonna get clicks. And the host normally is just sitting back not saying nothing. They just sitting there watching it happen, and they don't care. And that it bothers someone like me because I end up getting these people on the back end because they're destroyed now. It was already broken, but now it's and don't dare go on a live where people don't agree with you and you end up getting bullied or something. It's a lot of tragedy that happens on this app too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
yeah. There's a lot of tragedies happen. People be manipulated. People that's at vulnerable stages. There are
yeah,
some that go and catch them right then and there.
it's people on this app that have unalived themselves because of how they got treated here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one or two either. And it's like as humans, we've lost the ability to empathize.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people like it's not something that hasn't been in us as humans. Social media it exacerbates it out into a realm that we've never seen. Because I always tell people, when people used to fist fight back in the day, people didn't run away from it. We ran towards it to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in us, unfortunately. And on this app, you got 100,000 fights to go run to if you chose, and we
Mm-hmm.
have to be responsible about what goes in our ears and in front of our eyes. We can change our algorithm, but do we want to?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So this is why I always say, just be mindful of who you lend your ear to, and what you choose to take on as to be. Um, this is, it's not about, on my platform, I'm going to give, if I'm breathing, I'm going to give you scripture, okay? Because I know that they come together, that there is a manual, and it's already addressed it. So how do I take that scripture and make it applicable to what we're doing? Okay, so it's not me saying it, it is already said. And I'm okay with that. But if I am, and I say it all the time, if I'm not your cup of tea with my scripture, please, I don't lock the doors here at this church. And ushers will let you out, okay? They will let you out. But this
Yeah,
has been good. This has been really good, Derek, and I do thank you. And now that I know how to get in contact with you, I'm not saying that I won't, but
yeah,
because
it's fine. It's
I
just
don't,
what
I
it is
don't,
for me. Like it's the same night that I do my show on, right?
yeah.
So
So
I
you
need
are not,
so what happens is, and this is probably TMI, any live that I do that talks about trauma takes something from me that I have to regain when I get off, right? And
mm-hmm,
so I regain when I get, and this has nothing to do with you because I love you, Miss Donna, but I have to come off of that and then come and do another one. So when you said maybe next week, I'm like, wait, easy on me, Miss Donna, because I got to take a break. But that don't mean I ain't gonna never come back. But sometimes I got to release, especially when I have those heavy topics, because this is what people don't understand. Right here's the secret: every show I do is about me. So when I talk about it, I'm reliving it in real time in front of you guys. And when I get off, it's like an actor that gets deep into a role. I got to get back to Derek and then reemerge the next day and do it again.
and that's what I've said to dear before. When I do this, it's because I've been there.
Yep.
And how I relate to you, Derek, is sometimes I say, "Man, am I a dude?" Because I think just like Derek. And so when it's all said and done, I sit in this chair. This chair reclines like my recliner, and I sit here and I turn the lights off, and I look out into the darkness, and I just have to sit here and mull
Yeah.
it over and over. And it's my thought that when we do this, it helps to keep us grounded
Mm-hmm.
because we've come from that's no longer us, but he has us to do it again and
Yeah.
say it again
Yeah.
because it keeps us grounded.
Yeah.
It
It's
keeps
it's
us grounded.
yeah.
Hey,
It
Big
it's
Rose, how are you?
yeah. It's. Let me just say this real quick. Including yourself, right? It's not even about being a coach. Those of us who come here to help people to talk about the things that hurt, do it on camera, trigger ourselves live in front of y'all, right? We watch Donna's face get triggered in real time, right? And then we get off of here and we have learned ways to soothe ourselves, whether it's music. That's where the music therapy comes from. That's why I say music is my therapy, because it ain't for y'all. Y'all just happen to be on here when I'm doing it, right? So we purge and then we reemerge the next day and do it again because we love the idea that people can gather, people we can collaborate and grow into something bigger. No matter how many people are on here, the people that need to be here were here to hear it. Some people dipped in and out, but they were able to catch something that maybe they could use outside of here. So this what you do, this what all of us do is important no matter how many people are watching. Somebody's got to care about community. Somebody's got to care about love. We can't lose it. So that's why I'm like, as long like you said, as long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to the words of the love is going to emit from me.
Derek, what I said to Dear earlier today, I don't know what label. I've been doing this for so long. Like I said, 14 and a half, 15 years doing in-person group. And now I'm learning to do it on this, what I did in person, you know, like I'm like, I don't call me a coach. I have my certificate. I don't call me a coach. I don't know what to call me. I don't do labels. That's what
Right.
I don't do. Is I
Right.
don't do labels.
Yeah.
And so you call me whatever, mentor, auntie, whatever. Don't call me old, okay? But
I think.
anyway,
Let me say this because I want to. I like to give people their flowers while they're here. Derek, every time I've heard you, brother, you have been a blessing to so many people. And if you keep the attitude and keep the posture that you're walking in, where if I just bless one person, if I just reach one person, my job is done. But
mhm,
everybody in the comments, something that he said just a few minutes ago. I mean, being a life coach myself, it does deplete you. I love the honesty that you just gave because it talks about so many people that are called to as a life coach or called as a counselor or called even as a pastor, that when they give, they're depleted and they have
Mm-hmm.
to refresh and rejuvenate and you know, revive themselves. So I appreciate your honesty in that, man, and that,
Appreciate that.
you know, it you have no idea how much that did to me, you know, as a coach. Because I, you know, sometimes you feel like you're out here, you know, dang, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't even feel like getting on TikTok. But
Yeah. Let
guys,
me
like,
let
nah,
me
I got
just keep it
somebody.
really transparent, right? When people ask me why do you charge for certain things, that's part of it. Like I gotta absorb all your stuff for free, and then I gotta like it's a ton of stuff. Like just imagine not one, not two in a week, five, whatever, all of that, and I gotta and I'm doing this for you, even if it's $5. That part right there, forget the training, forget the courses, forget all of that. You just
Mhm.
took something from me to help you. That there's something there's value in that in itself, right? And I'm not saying everybody need to charge or what I'm charging, but I don't think everybody don't need to charge. But I'm an empath too, so that means I'm taking it in twice as much. So now I got off the phone with your one on one. All right, when's the next one? You're not getting that. I'm sorry, you're not getting that for free. I give you all of it.
And you know what? And Galathea is sitting out there in the chat, and I know she's gonna call me and ask me, "Did I hear what you said?" Because in my 15 years, I've never charged a dime, not one dime. You know, and I wouldn't know how. But and I think about, you know, pastors that have pastors that have sat under me
Hmm.
and reconciled their relationship with their wives, to hear some of the things that they've done and do, and I have never charged.
Let me tell you something. People like us, it's hard to charge, right? It's
Yeah.
hard to charge, but when you actually like look at what it takes from you, and see people like us, we're so selfless. We don't even categorize that, right? We're just like we do it because we love people. Until you got to do it for 10 in the same week. Now, is Donna okay? One or two, you good, because this is what we do. People like us, when we outside, people naturally are drawn to us and they be telling us their story and we ain't asked for it, right?
Yes.
So when you are that type of person and
Yes.
people are coming to you for help and they're telling you their worst trauma, and then you're going to be like, I went through that too, and you reliving it in real time, and now you got to get yourself back together. Nah. Not if you're doing it as a business. There's no way I'm giving all of that, and I got to go home and be a family man, and I got to make sure everybody, my mama, good, and I'm taking time out to absorb your stuff just on my free time, and I'm not getting anything back, and you getting all of it.
Do you see what she
No.
put? Did you see what Galatians put? Invoice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
She
It
said
took
that
me
to
a
me.
long time to get there though. One of my good she's passed on. One of my good friends that I graduated high school with, she was like, Derek, you done went through the training. You done helped all
Yes.
these people. And she was like, and I was like, but I don't feel comfortable people calling me a coach. I don't think I'm qualified enough. And she was like, Derek, you did all the stuff. You're helping people. You changing lives. Invoice. Cause what? Like, so you went through all of that and gonna give all of that, the training, the life experience and all of that, and you gonna give it to the world. It's not my girlfriend, it's not my brother, it's everybody. There's a toll that we pay that
And then,
nobody ever sees.
and look at the conferences that you go to, because
Yeah,
you just when I was so beside myself to sit under Miles Monroe. I was so beside myself to sit there and listen. But then I looked at, man, did I just pay that much to go sit with
yeah.
him?
And then somebody else gonna get all that information up out of you for nothing. No. It took me a long time to get this posture though, because I'm Mr. Help Everybody. But
I'm just telling you,
yeah,
I'm just telling you, I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. And Galathea say, did you send them an invoice? I'm like,
yeah. There's a popular coach. I can't remember her last name. I think it's Stribling or something. And she's a billionaire. Like she's on stages, and she said, for you to pick my brain, there's an invoice for it. It's a lot of stuff in here. You don't just get to take out what you want when you feel like it. There's an invoice for picking this because I worked hard on this information, and I was like, you know what? She's right. Once you've done it as long as you've done it, once you've done it as long as I've done it, right? It's a natural thing to help. It's a natural thing to identify things and help people. But again, there's a price to pay. If you really care about people, there is a price to pay. Because we're not talking about what church you go to. We're talking about trauma. We're talking about stuff, debilitating stuff that you're going through, and you're gonna come to me because they do it in our regular lives because we care about people. They want if you let them, they will drain the whole life force out of you and still keep going as long as you're willing to give. No,
you know,
no.
Derek, it was one lady that I met here on TikTok, and she inboxed me about how much she really enjoyed the way I spoke to the people, right? And she wanted to talk with me if she could. And so, me being me, I said, okay, on this day at 1 o'clock, I'm available for an hour. That's what I said, for an hour.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to shut this woman down. She was
Yeah.
still
Mm,
going 3 hours
Yeah.
mm,
later.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
3 hours later,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to take a breather.
Yeah.
3 hours later, she was still
Yeah.
talking.
But see, the way that we are, we're going to sit for those 3 hours because we care so
Yeah,
much.
I did.
And then
Yeah.
after the 3 hours, we're drained.
And washed
Yeah.
completely.
And still ain't got no money in our
And
pockets.
And
still
still
ain't got
don't
no
have no
money in your
money in the
pocket.
pockets, right?
Ooh
It's
wee.
just dust. And then one, I said, does she think I'm dumb? Did she take my gray hair? You tell me you cohabitating. He's using your car. He's eating your food.
I'm not going there, dear. Don't do this, dear. Don't do it. Nope, nope,
And
nope, nope,
Sound like somebody
nope,
you know, dear.
nope.
and I'm just like, and so you are paying for it. That's what I said. So
Hmm.
you paying him for it.
Miss
So I
Diamond.
said then, because he's lived with you for this length of time, you can't just put him out. You're gonna have to evict him, okay? Depending on what state you are in,
Hmm.
okay? So you need to do this. Oh, but I don't know. I don't know if I can, because one of the children is his child, and how is he going to get to work?
Yeah.
I said, so then what was your
Waste
purpose
my
in
time.
talking to?
Why waste my time?
That's right.
See,
Yeah,
see. I tell you,
You
Derek.
could have charged them. You could have invoiced them for
This is
that.
the issue that I have. People call me and take up my time, and I have to always understand. And I said this on my live about, I think, last week or the week before. I have to always understand, even when I give advice, 90 to 95% of the time they're not going to take it.
Nope.
They're not going to
Nope.
take it. They're not going to change. So it's
That's
like,
right.
Nope.
okay. So again, to what you were saying, so for you taking up my time, not wasting my time, but taking up my time, you got to now pay me next time for my time,
Yeah.
because I'm not giving you the advice based on the things that I've been through and also the education that I've gained, to
yeah,
give you information that can help you. That you came to me. I didn't come to you ask you to be your coach. You
Yeah.
came to me,
right.
and now I'm taking up my time to give you information
Hmm.
that you don't take.
Yep.
Get off my phone.
Yeah. I had to. I
Yeah,
had to build. Yeah.
get off my phone.
Yeah. See because I'm also an engineer, right? Like I've been in the tech space for 26 years for NASA, right? The way that I had to counteract that, right? Because I realized how involved I get on the phone. What I realized is human behavior, right? A lot of us have similar journeys, right? So like let's say for an example, you need to learn how to recover from a breakup. So what I did was I created me telling somebody how to recover from a breakup. I recorded it. You want to know how to work on your self esteem? I recorded it. Each one of them is almost 2 hours apiece of me talking to you the same way I would talk to you on the phone. So when you come to me, anything you come to me with, I have a workshop for you to go take before we even get into all of your stuff. Because what
That's
happens
good.
is when you digest the fundamentals, you will answer most of your questions before we even have that conversation. And if you don't want to do it, you already paid for it. Have a good day. This is how I make sure that people who are serious stay. You're not going to run me on the phone with all your trauma when I have a package that helps you start and understand where to start your healing journey, how you recognize the patterns, how you do the shadow work is the second one, how you notice your attachment styles is the third one, and how you regulate yourself. When you do all of that groundwork, the fundamentals, you get to talk to me if you have little questions along the way, but you're building the muscle yourself. So when you matriculate up to a certain point, you don't need me. And I could put somebody else in the queue, and you did not take from me emotionally the whole way, right? You built the muscle, you did most of the work. I was just your guide, right? Because you got the same stuff. And guess what? 6 months later, when you fall off the horse, you go back to the source material that you already got. You don't got to get on the phone with me still, because I know that I'll sit on that phone with you for 3 hours, and I can't do that for 10 people in a week. I'd be passed out somewhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I created something that works when I go to sleep. You can go get it when I'm sleeping and still get the same information. You don't even have to call me. You know you need to start your
I
healing
like
journey?
that.
Go get the healing journey package. You wanted to break up? Go. You need conflict resolution? I got one for that. I got one to teach you how to check in with your partner on a frequent basis and how to do that. Anything, I've literally cataloged the library. So no matter what you come in with, you can go get it with or without my guidance. It's there. And now we don't have this. And I know one-on-ones is the thing, but I can't, like, my empath of me, I cannot do but so much in a week and still perform and do stuff in the other parts of my life. I need rest. So it's something that you won't see a lot of people do, but it's part of my occupation. So I know how to make. So you get the engineer and the coach in the same person, but I had to build something because I was about to really like shut it down. I'm like, I can't do this. And then I had the idea, if so many people are asking for the same thing, just talk about it once,
That's good.
right?
That is
That
good.
is really good because,
Yeah.
Derek, as I was saying, 15, 14 and a half, 15 years, I did that in person with my groups never got to be over 12. I understood
Hmm.
that so everybody could have a chance to talk. And it was like 32 weeks, okay?
Yeah,
Because there's certain things when we start to talk about forgiveness, we don't master forgiveness the first time out,
nah,
okay?
nope,
That's something that takes time.
yeah.
That takes time.
A
It
lot of
needs
people think they can get it, and like if they watch us tonight, they're like, "Ah, got it." No, you don't. There's, you
mm-mm,
cannot. They're like, "I don't have to pay because I listen to your." I'm just
Yeah.
no. This is habit changing. You can't do
Yeah.
that in one
you
or two.
cannot. You have and you have to want to make that change, okay? So and I always say when you change you, that other person will see a change in you
Yeah, yeah,
and want to change also,
yeah,
but the change has to happen in you first.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey for me, this coaching thing, and I know you've been doing this for a while too, Donna. So don't stop. Like, don't stop. Don't stop. It's needed because you got to think about what you mentioned earlier about all those other types of content. No matter how big or small we are, we in this fight, and we in this fight together. And this collaboration has to happen too, because we always everybody want to be the superstar, but we got to share these panels. We got to collaborate. We got to make sure that we push this narrative because I used to think I could save everybody, but I realized I couldn't. But the ones that we can help and inspire, let's go. Let's get it.
That's
Because
good.
you see what's happening out here. People are so disconnected more than ever before.
Hmm.
But it's something that we all need, connection. I don't care if it's a relationship or a friendship. We need each other.
And I just can't do this divide thing. I cannot do this divide. I see a problem that is universal, and I don't want to do. I if I not I don't want to do. I'm not going to do where we're going to debate back and forth between
Yeah.
because it's a
Yeah, I don't
universal
debate. I
topic.
call myself undebatable. You know why? Because even though I impart some of my life stories, most of the stuff I talk about is objectively true for most people. So you can't tell me people don't have childhood wounds. You can debate, you
Right.
can't debate. So I stick to those type of things so that when you come in, you're going to gain more understanding and learning than you will have the opportunity to debate me, right? So I could say a lot of people are the toxic thing that enters in the dating pool, even though they think the dating pool is a toxic thing. You can't
Yeah.
debate me on that. You can try,
Absolutely.
but it's true. I
Yeah.
stick to
Yeah.
objective truths, and you can't. So it's not my opinion that some people have childhood wounds. It's true. Psychology dictates that it's true. So when you come in, you be like, people don't have childhood. This is the wrong. That you can't debate that. You
Exactly.
yeah. So I don't play around in areas where you can fight me because then there's no learning. That doesn't mean that I know everything, but I do know that what I talk about is mostly true for most people, and we can now sit down and listen. You can impart your comments and your questions, but you can't tell me what I'm saying isn't true.
And
Just
and
like tonight, conflict resolution. You can't debate those things that you were itemizing or whatever. There's no, what are we fighting about? This is true for most people. We conflict. So now we can have a conversation.
and now we can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that you do your shows is similar to the way I do mine. We define the things first, so you know exactly what we're talking about. You can't debate that. You're reading the definition of what it is. So and now we're just adding context and flavor to it for context, but you can't debate a definition. They might try, but you can't. This is now your ears can open because you're not worrying about fighting me. Let's go. Now we can go.
And
People be
then
coming on there trying to. I'm like, you can't debate this, and I don't
and
even have. This is not my. This is the wrong show for you if you want to fight somebody.
the, isn't that what I said to you, Tony? This is the wrong one. Okay, what we're not going to do here is we're not going to go back and forth. This and that's I think more than anything, that's the reason why I do it the way I do it, and then bring someone up at the end
Hmm.
because see, I need to equip you with
Yeah,
knowledge.
yeah,
You don't even know that you don't know.
hmm,
I didn't know that I didn't know until I sat down,
yeah.
until I went and found a good seat and sat down.
That's why my brand is called what it is. Like you gotta sit down and heal. Like stop, evaluate, digest, stop thinking you know everything, learn
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
then move forward, right? Because I had to do it myself. I was outside. And I was like, Derek, this is not, I don't even recognize this behavior that I'm doing to cope and to be validated by other human beings when I couldn't do it for myself. I had to sit down and heal. And
See,
that's where the title come from. I had to stop.
and I mean, literally had to stop. And I don't feel bad that I had to stop because there's woolly bullies out there,
Yeah.
and I haven't been out there with woolly bullies in a long time. Jazz, welcome in, welcome in.
How are you doing there, lovely lady? I don't get to you as often as I should or
You
could.
are so
But
kind. I got to see you what last week or week before last, week before last. But here you are
yeah,
again. How are you?
I'm still at 73 years old, still a good piece of leather, well put together.
All right now. All right. All
But I
right.
love hearing your voice and your wisdom and the way you bring it on smooth as silk. I love that about you.
Thank you so much, Jazz. I appreciate you.
And
I appreciate.
I just caught a small gist of what was being said. But here, at 73 years old, I figured this much out. I started my prayer out personally. I'm not trying to convert anybody, but I started my prayer out saying, Our Father. That means I'm a child my whole existence. So at 73, I remain smart enough to be dumb enough to learn something new. Always have a child's heart, ever
Yeah,
learning.
absolutely.
So you can be
Never.
a genius in one area, guarantees you to be ignorant in 1,000 others.
Absolutely.
So I've been in those situations where, yeah, I was up on my high horse only to discover it was actually a Shetland pony.
Well,
Real talk.
I do appreciate you coming up and joining me. It's almost my bewitching hour, which is 12 o'clock. Derek, I do thank you for coming and joining. Dear, you know I appreciate you. Tony, I know he's already left me, but I do thank you all. I do thank you for making this another successful tea after dinner with Lady DJ. Thank you all so very much. And I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Leroy hasn't told me that yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Thank you for
You
having
know
me.
what is your schedule? Please make me aware of, because I've been missing out, but I've been busy. You know.
It's
So
every Tuesday night, every Tuesday. Because after I did my 90-day fast, I realized that I needed to take some of my time back. Okay,
I
and
got you.
because
Yeah.
we can be on here so long that we get distracted from something that is um, needing more of our time. We lose focus. And so now I
Right.
just do
Right.
it
Right.
twice in on Tuesday. So lunch, I give you the foundation of what's going to be talked about in depth at 9:30. So 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, and then tea after dinner on at 9:30. But if you miss all of that, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is
Okay.
Tea with Lady DJ, and these will be uploaded to that or on my Facebook, Instagram, Threads. I think I did I say Facebook? All of those. All of those.
Well, just give me the credit when I don't come to know that I'm doing something that's positive, like you were saying. We have a tendency to get distracted, and in my years on the planet, I understand because the finger pointers, they can get so distracted that they forget to look at three fingers folded pointing back to them. See, if we don't love ourselves, it's impossible to spread love. So I don't get no longer deeper in things around me because I can lose myself in the process.
Right.
So,
Listen,
focusing on me is not a selfish thing. It's what God would want me to do.
listen. I almost thank goodness for these little bitty charges. I was sitting here and I was like, why is that red up there? It was getting ready to zap out. So I put my little charger in here so we could, but we're getting ready to call it a night. And I do thank everyone that was sitting in the chat on in the vestibule. Thank you all. Thank you. Until next Tuesday, good night, you all.
Good night.
Hey,
Good
I
night.
followed you, coaching Derek, because if you with her, I'm with you. You got good taste if you dealing with Lady DJ, because she's a lovely lady, definitely unique. She's epic, and yeah, I love her to pieces.
Thank you. Good night, you all.
Good
All
night.
right, now.